It has been a fixture on the Portsmouth horizon since 2009. At 360 feet tall, with blades that weigh 9 tons each, this wind turbine was supposed to be the town's answer to rising electricity costs. All of that changed 4 years ago.
Because of what happened in Portsmouth, I had to make the state of Rhode Island feel very comfortable.
Mark DePasquale says Portsmouth showed the rest of the state how not to do a wind energy project. The town bought into faulty technology, which broke in 2012, leaving taxpayers with nearly $1.5 million still left to pay on equipment that was producing no revenue. The icing on the cake, the company that manufactured it went out of business.
It's a poster child. It just sits there broken, and I drive by and it bothers me inside my heart. It bothers me.
Send it back down. I got a whole brand new tool here right now for you too, the same tool.
Enter DePasquale, who founded Wind Energy Development in 2009 and last week presided over the dismantling of the turbine. DePasquale is so confident in wind energy, he's paying off the town's debt and putting up another turbine on the same site, but with a new foundation and new technology. He'll own it and sell electricity to the town. He expects it to come online by late June. DePasquale is also putting up 10 turbines in western Coventry. 3 will be owned by the town of West Warwick, which is paying $6 million per turbine, with the expectation of saving $40 million in power over 25 years. DePasquale says there are no government subsidies or tax breaks for the West Warwick project, just the assurance that the town's electricity rates will be stable for the next 2+ decades, because it will be producing its own power.
I think you're going to see a lot of communities growing for this. I really, I think once the project's up, it's going to be a model project.
It wasn't that way 5 years ago when residents of North Kingstown packed the high school auditorium to oppose one of DePasquale's proposed projects on the Exeter line. It didn't matter that he'd already put up a turbine in his own backyard. Literally. Many said it would ruin their property values and the quality of life in town.
I never expected such a battle over a wind turbine. And I put it in my front yard because I wanted to learn more about it. So I said, what better off to place it right in front of me to live under it.
Now DePasquale uses it to sell skeptics who worry about noise and flicker.
So when we have a meeting, I invite people. I said, come to my house. Would you live under it? I said, come to my house. There's always somebody that's not sure, and they'll come down and they'll hear it and they'll listen to it, and I'll show them inside. It changes a lot. Once you see it and you touch it, you get a different perspective of the turbine.
DePasquale has done several other things to answer his critics. Every time the company gets an inquiry, project developer Hannah Marini uses a sophisticated computer program to determine whether a given site would be a good fit for a turbine.
We basically take it off of GIS mapping and Google Earth, and we put our turbine there. And once we set our turbine there, there's a whole bunch of settings that they set in, and instantly the computer will spit out what the effects are going to be. They'll call me, and I'll pull up Google Earth, and I'll look at it, and I'll just look at the little symbol, and I'll say north. I tell people before we hang up the phone, it's not going to work. Or it looks interesting, let me get back to you.
He is also relying on experts from the turbine manufacturer Vensis for the Coventry project.
We brought over people from Germany. There was about 8 or 10 of them that they just specialize in building foundations. So that company flew in, and then what I did is we offset them with HB Welding, which is a union company in Rhode Island, and they've put some labor on with them to try to educate people in Rhode Island. At the same time, the manufacturer knows that the foundation's going in perfectly.
DePasquale said the highly publicized failure in Portsmouth convinced him that giving long-term assurances on maintenance would be critical in selling turbine projects. So he turned again to Vensis.
We spent a week negotiating an operating and maintenance agreement, and spent probably the most of our time discussing what they're going to be responsible for, made sure that there was nothing left out on it. And my platform basically was, we have a broken turbine in the state of Rhode Island. We cannot afford another one. You need to stand up, come to Rhode Island, set up office here, and you need to operate and manage and run this facility.
The Coventry turbines will be the same as the 3 the Narragansett Bay Commission put up several years ago on the Providence waterfront. DePasquale says the Coventry project has allowed several farmers to keep their property. The company is paying $50,000 a year for 25 years to lease the land from property owners for each turbine.
A lot of farmers want to preserve their land. And it's very, very difficult to pay taxes and be in a foresting program and to keep revenue. So they're really struggling. So we went out to the country where we figured this is a good fit. There's no houses really around us. I mean, there's houses in the area, but, you know, large distances away from the turbines. There's nothing to the north of it. The elevation in Coventry is about 550 feet above sea level. Learning into the way power flows in our grid in Rhode Island, I think, has been the hardest learning curve for the project. Learning about the technology. I climb my turbine a minimum of once a month. I inspect it ourselves. We have a operating and maintenance company, Goldwyn, that actually manage and runs the turbine. So if there is an issue, they're monitoring it. I immediately get an email, and a crew comes down and does the repairs.
Do you ever wake up at night sometimes and think, I hope this works?
No. What I wake up and hope is our project's going to be up early summer and running. I hope that other people in the state could really understand how important it is, and that it really is, there is no impact to these communities, and how it could help secure energy and preserve open space and protect farmers. I have no worries at all that the project's going to run.
The Coventry project has been delayed because of disputes the company has had with National Grid. DePasquale has also spent $10 million to upgrade lines that run from the turbine site to a substation at Johnson's Pond, 10 miles away, because he said the grid's equipment is antiquated.
I was asked by the grid, why did I spend $10 million to hook up 10 turbines? And they were very surprised that I've moved forward with the project. And there was a lot of reasons why I moved forward with it. It was to prove to everybody else in the state, when the project's up and running, that it's successful. If the cost of connecting the 10 turbines would have swayed any other developer, would have stopped the project. I built it for the point to build it, to run it, to operate it, to prove to the rest of the state that this is a good, viable source of energy.
He predicts that once the Coventry turbines come online and Portsmouth is up in a very visible location, there will be a surge in interest in other parts of the state.
I think you're going to see a big change in the next 3 to 5 years in Rhode Island of how many towns are generating their own power with wind.
In Portsmouth, Jim Hummel for the Hummel Report.